Hi everyone, good afternoon. It's Ann Sheehan back with you today on Real Property Tax Advisors vlog series for 2021. We've been exploring the different asset classes and we're now down to my two favorites, industrial and manufacturing. Almost my entire career has been centered around these two product types, either as a broker, as a corporate real estate asset manager of sorts, and then of course the property tax world. I'm going to split them into two different vlogs because number one, it's shorter, but number two, as similar as they are, they're very different. And I want to make sure from a property tax perspective that we segregate them out so that we understand all the issues that are actually occurring for each asset class. So at the beginning of this year, distribution was still the leader of asset classes, lots of longevity, good demand, good activity. But there was something in the background that had been going on for probably 18 to 24 months, and that was the trade wars with China. And, if we think back that far, a lot of things have gotten in the way, but if you think back that far, tariffs were flying back and forth. And, our global US companies who manufactured in China were all of a sudden getting hit with these incredible tariffs during this war, the trade war. That kind of fell to the wayside, quite honestly, when the pandemic hit China. China, of course, was the first country to be hit by the pandemic. And actually, those US companies with locations in China saw it first. They were aware of, at least had an idea of what was going on by November and December of last year. And so it wasn't, and actually we had clients with manufacturing sites overseas in China, and they actually shut down before anybody else did here in the US. So they saw this pandemic coming. And when it actually started shutting down China, that impacted US distribution. Imports from China just came to a grinding halt, and which on the US side led to leasing. Distribution space came to a complete halt. There was nothing leased March, April, and May. The entire asset class shut down. There was nothing coming in from China, and there was no activity here on our, domestic shores. Consumer demand, of course, spiked due to the unknown. We heard about a pandemic in mid-March. I know I've never lived through a pandemic in my backyard before, but it's frightening. Pandemic is a big, scary word. Consumers did what we always do. We went and shopped for our comfort products, toilet paper, paper towels, the food staples, peanut butter, bottled water, stock up on chicken, These are the staples that we used to hoard for a snowstorm. Okay. The pandemic has clearly lasted longer than a snowstorm. We're into 6 or 7 months by now, and we still don't have a lot of answers. We don't have a vaccine, and honestly, our country is banking on a vaccine solving a lot of our problems. I think that's another conversation. The leaders in the recovery so far for distribution have been certainly e-commerce, grocery, and then logistics. So that's where we were first and second quarter. Today, I think distribution is still the strongest asset class by performance. Consumer demand has remained strong, and as we talked a little bit about in the retail segment, Americans have become very enamored with the idea of ordering what you want from your own computer and having it delivered in a couple of days, or in many cases the next day, and then some same-day delivery. We've gotten really used to that. So that the e-commerce has certainly led the way for US distribution. So that has continued to make it the strongest asset class. We saw occupancy gains in June, July, and August. And actually right now, there are rental rates that are in the range of $20 to $30 a square foot for industrial distribution. Absolutely unheard of, but the result of everything that's going on right now in the US. We're also seeing some adaptive reuse as former buildings are turning into industrial, or certainly industrial related uses. Third and fourth quarter, well, we're almost through the third quarter, but anyway, I think you'll still see the industrial continue to outperform all the other asset classes. We still have an economic turndown that's still concurrent with this pandemic. So, you know, a lot of people have kind of forgotten about the economic downturn, but we still have it. And it's still right there side by side with the pandemic. So what if it continues and ends up trickling into the supporting e-commerce demand? We still need to, and I'm going to dive into this further on manufacturing, we've got to reconfigure our supply chains. That has absolutely proven to be our weakest link through this pandemic. And then, of course, that brings a conversation to, do we reshore? And we'll talk about that in the next vlog as well. As far as property tax goes, rents will continue to increase, and companies are always going to continue to try to prevent future issues with distribution. Industrial value is always its location. It's about moving goods from point A to point B. And because of that, industrial locations don't have amenities to leverage and protect value in the event of a change of expectation or change of requirement. For example, 18-foot clear warehouses were fine when they were built in the 1960s. They were absolutely fine until we started building 22, 24, 26, and 32-foot clear buildings. They became obsolete with very little options for a second life. I think the one thing to remember for property tax, as well as just as for our country as a whole on distribution, and I think this has certainly been proven time and time again with the pandemic, is we can no longer operate just in time. We have to operate just in case. We can't be caught without a little extra. We cannot be caught without a stockpile of medical supplies, PPE, ventilators, drugs. I think that's been our biggest learning. Can we appeal property taxes for distribution centers in this kind of a market? Absolutely. They have absolutely been impacted. They meet the definition of external obsolescence, just like every other asset class has. And there's plenty of data that we can go in and get a reduction for you. That's all for industrial. I hope you have found value in this vlog. We look forward to our next chat, where we will wrap it up with manufacturing and supply chain. Thank you very much. Let me know how I can help.